Hi, my name is Drew Martin, and I want to start off my talk today by asking you all a question. What causes violent behavior? Is it because that person was neglected as a child? Was it because that person was bullied in middle school? Or maybe it is because that person was just related to a serial killer. In April 15th, 2015, Zara watched out the window as her father was shot and ran over by her uncle. Later, she found out that her dad and her uncle were responsible for the Boston Marathon. They were trying to escape the police when they got shot, and his brother tried to escape and had to run over her dad. This action caused by her father became a huge burden on her that she will never forget. It followed her around for the rest of her life, and she hated her last name. Whenever said, she would refer back to that exact moment where her dad died in front of her eyes. Later, she remembers asking her mom, "Why does this affect me so much? Why does this follow me around? Why is this put on me, what my dad did, not what I did?" She asked her mom, "Do I have the gene?" Her mom was so confused at what she was talking about. She was referring to the serial killer gene. It is commonly known in people, and people blame it on the genetic code and blame their violent behavior for it. It is known as the XYY chromosome versus the standard XY chromosome that we all have. There was a study done, and they found out that 80% of all the crimes committed in America were committed by only 7% of the population. This is very highly concentrated. And they took most of this study, they took most of the criminals, and they tested them for this serial killer gene. Most of them had it. The few that didn't have it had only committed petty crimes that didn't involve hurting or killing anyone. The rest, they were all tested positive for this gene. This gene is called the CDH13 gene and messes with our protein DNA strip. And the point that I'm trying to make is that not all people who have this gene end up killing, but all people who kill have this gene. It's not like cystic fibrosis, where if you have it, then you will kill. That's why I think also the cause of violent behavior is our surroundings. There's a man named Vinnings. This is his father. His father was a very big criminal who murdered at least 6 people in Oregon, and that was just his lifestyle. He knew that his dad was a killer, but he didn't really think anything of it, and he was forced to be his father's confidant and help him hide bodies, burn bodies, cover up blood, and it's just how he grew up. I quote what he said, is, "When you love someone so much, you don't see anything different." Close quote. This is how he grew up. This is how he was taught, how he was raised. He trusted and loved his father, so this is all he knew. He was so scared to confront him, as it says right here, and he never did. His father eventually went up to jail, and he said that he had to fight so hard to not get involved in any of his criminal behavior, and he ended up burning a car that had more bodies that his dad had murdered and got charged for it. But it's not his fault. He was just grown up in that time and day. An analogy to this situation is political, especially with the presidential debate coming up, and if you're Republican or liberal. If you are raised in a very, very conservative or even liberal home, your father and your mother are constantly talking about it. It's what they believe. They never force the belief on you, but you're pretty much involved and there's no way around it. This is similar to violent behavior. You are most likely going to grow up being liberal if you're born in a liberal home. Some people do switch and everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but most people just go along with how they're raised. In violent behavior, they don't know any different. They trust and they love their parents, and they're constantly hearing their opinion or seeing their actions, and they just follow suit because that's what kids do. They just follow suit. There was a study done by Dr. Green, and he quotes, "Complex behavior does not distill down to a single gene or 7 a single set of genes. This means that this single set of genes does not determine our entire behavior. I want to conclude with a takeaway. We are not determined. Our actions do not determine anything. Our parents' actions don't determine anything. Our actions do. We can be our own person. We can believe what we want to be. We can act how we want to act. Our environment does not affect that. Our genetic code does not affect that. No good ever came out of blaming our history. No good ever came from blaming the people and events that surround us. It may influence, but it does not define. I want to conclude with this final saying. Focus on the good and be the good. It is up to you to decide who you are and where you're going with your life. Thank you.